Hey, so you guys probably know of Los Alamos, New Mexico. The Oppenheimer movie where he made the atomic bomb with all the other scientists and some of those, Project Paperclip Nazi scientists joined in on the Manhattan Project. It's all a lot. Anyway, let's do this real quick. Hang on. I lost it.
You're watching Local News Durango. I'm Deborah Uroda. More than 100
Wait, is she real? You guys, it's a day. It's been a day.
Property owners in Durango have been notified that their properties most likely are contaminated with radioactive mill tailings. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment recently discovered the contaminated properties after digitizing paper records from a 1980s U.S. Department of Energy project to clean up Durango's Cold War legacy. The mill tailings were left by a United States Vanadium Corporation that processed vanadium and uranium.
Wait, can we look at how that's fake? Watch. You can tell it's a fucking model. Watch.
Likely are contaminated with radioactive mill tailings. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment recently discovered the contaminated properties after digitizing paper records from a 1980s U.S. Department of Energy project to clean up Durango's Cold War legacy. The mill tailings were left by a United States Vanadium Corporation that processed vanadium and uranium at the old smelter site, now the dog park on the Animas River. The radioactive material initially was used in the Manhattan Project that created the atomic bombs dropped on Japan to end World War II. Uranium later was sold to the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission during the Cold War. The mill permanently shut down in 1963.
But it's back open.
However, the tailings were used in various construction projects around the region, and in the 1970s and 80s, the U.S. Department of Energy identified more than 900 properties in and around Durango that had been contaminated with radioactive tailings. The tailings...
No wonder that Tesla could stick his light bulb on a metal rod on the ground and it turned on. He wasn't that great. It was like just the ground was glowing.
Release radon gas and gamma radiation, both known to cause cancer. In 1978, Congress passed the Uranium Mill Tailings Remediation Act and funded removal of tailing sites like those in Durango.
Okay, so meanwhile, these guys, you've got buying up, they have the churches buying up all the hospitals. It's happening. And then you've got that Vandersloot over there making a ton of money, billions, on medical billing. It's all so tainted. Now watch this. Hang on. And so, I already watched this for you guys, but just, it's crazy. Hang on. We're going to fast forward.
It was the biggest and most highly classified project of World War II. It was more highly classified than the Normandy invasion. It had #1 priority in everything.
It wasn't easy. You know it's got to be done, so you grab it and run with it. Get the job done.
It was a job unlike anything the world had ever seen.
It was the business end of an atomic bomb. It was plutonium. It was the first. It was going to change the world.
I can't take her.
Well, the first time I ever got into it, I was just astounded because I just could not imagine the effort that it took to do that.
It did a lot of good. It did a lot of damage.
Too bad.
I think
Of war had begun.
Sorry.
In 1939, President Franklin Roosevelt received a letter signed by Albert Einstein, urging more research into this new science and potentially new kind of weapon. Soon after, Roosevelt began asking America's top scientists for help. And in 1941, a new discovery brought the possibility of a super bomb one step closer. While experimenting with uranium, chemist Glenn Seaborg isolated a new element.
Plutonium is a man-made element that you make by bombarding uranium.
Plutonium was highly fissionable, and like uranium, could possibly be used as fuel for an atomic bomb. But the only way scientists could produce enough plutonium for a weapon would be through a controlled nuclear chain reaction. And that had never been done until a recently emigrated Italian physicist went to work at the University of Chicago.
On December 2nd, 1942, Dr. Enrico Fermi built what's called Chicago Pile 1, and that is the actual first reactor in the world. Let's remember, it wasn't a building, it was simply a pile of graphite. It was temporary. It didn't have a cooling system. It's very important. It operated at such a low power level, 1/2 of a watt.
I was absolutely flabbergasted. I had never heard of a chain reacting pile. And I think if you look back at some of the reports, you'll find that the secret statement was made to Washington that the Italian navigator has arrived in the New World and found the natives friendly. That was a sign that the nuclear chain...
Yeah, well, not real friendly, because they kicked the Native American people, the natives, off their land. That was given to them by the government. Hey, you guys can stay in this little block. But then, of course, they got to make their bombs, right? And that lady just bullshits.
Rudimentary huts and barracks.
Oh my God, I'm so annoyed.
Life here is a little on the rugged side, read one report.
When they began this project in March of 1943, by
Many elsewhere. Engineer Dick Donnell captured life here with cartoon character
pipes in it that looked like a waffle iron.
Self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction. But there was a problem.
And the reaction started to cool down by itself. And then eventually there wasn't enough fission going on to sustain it. And they thought, we have failed. We have done all this and we have failed. And it was daunting. They figured out that there was an isotope being produced that was damaging the fission reaction and slowing it. And they realized the sleeping compartment with a different place, and the Soviet Union was making a play for dominance. And so the Cold
taken over as prime contractor. And under the direction of the new Civilian Atomic Energy Commission, the largest federal peacetime construction project in American history began. New barracks and trailers in North Richland became home to thousands of incoming workers.
We've got to get going and beat Russia. There was no question about it. And the reactors were getting a little old and a little decrepit, having a little problem with them. And that's when they began replacing the reactors.
I ended up here in 1947. I was just 16 years old, out of high school, graduated high school when I was 16. Well, I did move out into the outer area, into the 100H reactor. It was under construction. And I worked as a common laborer out there at the 100H here, and I worked the swing shift.
General Electric operates here a fleet of about 90 buses that carry almost 2 million passengers a year.
We were still making plutonium. And then when we found that Russia was making plutonium, it became even more critical.
Keep watching.
The arms race had begun, and in 1949, the Soviet Union exploded its first nuclear weapon.
It was an exact copy of the Nagasaki weapon down to the wiring mistakes. It was exact.
A year later, the Korean War began, and President Truman decided to pursue the development of a more powerful hydrogen bomb.
A lot of people don't realize that we made the material for the first hydrogen bomb at Hanford.
It was tested in the Marshall Islands in 1952. Thousands of pages of historical documents detailing the operations at Hanford. Largely because of the massive amount of data available, Hanford, once shrouded in secrecy, would become the most scrutinized nuclear waste site in the world.
Hanford, first of all, has so much waste. It has 2/3 of all the nuclear waste in the entire nation in one place.
An apple a day, you guys. This is in
Our
Washington.
mission's cleanup, but That's all we do. Probably our biggest technical challenge on the Hanford side is the treatment of the underground stored waste in the underground tanks. There's 177 underground tanks. The waste treatment plant is being built to treat that waste, about 56 million gallons. And it's a very challenging job to figure out how to vitrify or glassify that waste in a safe manner.
Today, the cleanup at Hanford is costing U.S. taxpayers about $2 billion a year. The process has been plagued with technical problems and delays and will most likely continue for generations to come.
Oh, because they've messed up so much with all their uranium, making their plutonium, and making their atomic bombs and then their big nukes. All of our metal, all of our irons are being eroded away at. So now the big deal is globally specialty coating paint. So buy up, you guys. That's what these guys are doing. That's what this all goes down to. Buy up, everybody. Buy your stocks in specialty coating paint market, because I'm telling you, it's, look, you can see for yourself. It's becoming popular because of all this freaking radiation these ding-dongs put into the ground. We get our apples from Washington. Like, how much agriculture from Washington? I think it's like 500 billion a year. I could be wrong. I'll put that up here. From Washington, you want to eat your vegetables from there? No.